Whereas WWE seems to be going through a company-wide purge, releasing many stars, AEW has been hiring new wrestlers without stopping ever since 2019. With the pandemic and the firings from WWE, new hires at AEW have only increased. AEW is clearly the preferred destination for many stars. However, this is not always the case. This is Wrestling Hub, and here are wrestlers who turned down AEW. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. This is one rejection AEW are happy with right about now. Joey Ryan was one of the biggest figures of independent wrestling in the 2010s, making his name with controversial crotch-based style. He made regular appearances on Being the Elite as well as All In. However, when AEW was founded, while fans expected him to sign, he turned them down and talked about his reasons for doing so. They are obviously a new company and they're still figuring it out as they go. But as it came to decisions with them, we realized that they are going to be successful without me, I am going to be successful without them. Since then, during the 2020 Speaking Out movement, Ryan was accused by multiple female wrestlers of sexual harassment, ironically enough, given his gimmick. With his reputation tainted, he stepped away from wrestling due to lack of bookings. Ryan was most recently pictured working at Disneyland on the Jungle Cruise attraction. It was revealed he had been working there on a 3-month probationary period, but once the picture surfaced, Disneyland confirmed he had been fired. WWE fans will be familiar with Max Dupre, the mysterious face of the new Maximum Male model agency featuring Mansoor and Mace. The star made his debut on the main roster a couple of weeks ago, and after teasing the new gimmick for weeks, finally made his appearance along with his clients this past SmackDown. Before that, he was LA Knight of NXT, where he made quite an impression. He's even a one-time holder of the $1 Million Championship. Prior to being hired by WWE in 2021, he was working in NWA and Impact as Eli Drake. After he was fired from Impact, he had talks with AEW but did not go on to sign with the company. We had a deal worked out, and then we didn't, and then we did again, and then we didn't. We just couldn't come to terms with everything. While CM Punk is the AEW World Champion now, he was almost not a part of the company. The star had apparently retired from wrestling after 2014 when he walked out of WWE and was subsequently fired. What followed was one of the biggest PR debacles of WWE's history, as they faced accusation after accusation from Punk. Though Punk stayed away from wrestling, while trying and failing at MMA, he remained a popular name though, and was regularly connected with a return to wrestling. There was a rumor in 2019 that he was going to be a part of All Out, but that did not happen. He appeared at StarCast 3, where he talked about it. He said that he had received an offer from AEW in the form of a text message. Punk didn't like that was how they were doing business. He turned down the offer, although he would finally return to wrestling in AEW in 2021 on the second ever episode of Rampage. In 2019, though, he signed with WWE for the WWE Backstage show on Fox as an analyst. When AEW started, it was almost taken for granted that Kota Ibushi would be signing. Ibushi is one of the most respected and popular acts in New Japan and is best friends with AEW EVP Kenny Omega. AEW made him an offer just after Wrestle Kingdom in 2019. Ibushi said, "I turned them down just after Wrestle Kingdom. If I went, it would be the end of my career. There wouldn't be anywhere else to go after that. No step up, nothing left to do. That would be the last step to make. And after that, things would just go down. Great money, but I want to keep developing. This is the last decision I will make in my career. I'll end my wrestling career in NJPW." Kota has since had issues with New Japan management in May of this year. Ibushi appearing in other promotions except New Japan was seen as a breach of his contract, as they felt that he had done it deliberately so that they would terminate their deal. He had been fined as well. For the moment, he remains with the company, but once his contract expires, it's thought he might want to finish his career in AEW. Nick Aldis is probably one of the biggest names in wrestling outside WWE and AEW. He held the NWA World Heavyweight Championship for a long time and was perceived as the one to bring back prestige to the title. Aldis appeared at All In, where he defended the belt against Cody Rhodes. Aldis said that AEW had wanted to sign him, as he recalled what happened. "I'll tell you the truth. I was made an offer by AEW. I counter-offered with, I'd like to be able to do both. I'd like to work with them because obviously I have great admiration for Cody and the Bucks for what they've been able to do, but I wasn't prepared to walk away from the 2 years of work I've done sign with the NWA, and that was that. I left it open with, if you can find a way to keep doing this and do your show, I'll do your show. The wrestler is extremely professional and prestigious. It remains to be seen if he chooses to appear in AEW in the future. Former UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez is in jail after trying to shoot the alleged abuser of his daughter with him shooting the man's father by accident. He is facing trials this August and was turned down for bail twice. If convicted, he could face 20 years in prison. In 2019, he signed with WWE, but before he had done so, he was in discussions with other companies after leaving UFC. He had wrestled at Triple Mania prior, impressing many. It turned out that both New Japan and AEW approached to sign the fighter, but he turned them down. He opted to go to WWE, where he had a disappointing feud with Brock Lesnar. It was one of WWE's marquee signings that fell flat, and he was soon released. The Good Brothers were a part of WWE with AJ Styles most notably working against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 36. Despite renewing their contracts with WWE the previous year, they were released during the April 15th, 2020 budget cuts, apparently put on the chopping block by Paul Heyman. This ended their 4-year run with the company. Gallows and Anderson were given huge offers by AEW in 2019, but decided to stay in WWE due to the massive contracts they were offered. Since then, they headed to Impact, and as a part of a deal, appeared on AEW a bit. Now they've returned to New Japan, where they were prior to WWE. Marty Squirrel was one of the hottest free agents in 2019, having interest from WWE and AEW after his ROH contract was coming to an end. His Bullet Club stablemates going to AEW seemed to be a sign of things to come for Squirrel. Instead, he signed with Ring of Honor and became head booker. Then he was named in the Speaking Out movement and was fired. With AEW now owning ROH as well, Squirrel was apparently gone from wrestling. One of the most recent stars to have turned on AEW is former EVP Cody Rhodes. Rhodes was negotiating his contract with Tony Khan, who wanted him to sign a longer extension. When it became clear Rhodes was interested in going back to WWE and didn't want to sign with AEW, he let Cody go. And it sounded like at one point, I think that we were going to honestly, but we couldn't settle on it. The last thing I want to do is keep somebody here that isn't going to want to be here. It didn't look like we were going to get a longer deal done, and I would have loved to have done it. I have a lot of respect for him, but when we didn't come to terms on that, it made it pretty clear where we were going to end up on things. And that being said, I have nothing but respect for Cody, and I'll continue to. Cody has since had several top matches with Seth Rollins in WWE before hurting himself while training. He is out injured, but expected to be back soon. Edge came back to WWE in 2020, shocking fans at the Royal Rumble. Since then, he's been a part of multiple entertaining feuds and is about to return to TV soon. Though in 2019, AEW had talks with him and made him an offer. Edge took it to Vince McMahon to match, and the WWE chairman changed his mind about the rated R superstar. Once he was medically cleared, he was given a $3 million a year contract. And these were wrestlers that turned down AEW. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.